Hi, this is Craig Satterlee in Lansing, and this is Take One for the week of December 13. Peace be with you. Today is December 14. It's exciting in Michigan because Pfizer has begun to distribute the vaccination for the COVID-19, and people have begun to receive shots, or as BBC calls them, jabs. And so that's really exciting news. I'm hearing on the news that some of us, most of us, may get our shots as early as March. So we live with that hope. It's really good news. In the meantime, we need to do our part and wear our masks and keep social distancing and avoid congregant settings. So that's some really good news. On the other hand, today we elected, or our Electoral College elected, the new president-elect and vice president-elect. And here in Michigan, here in Lansing, where I live, the state capitol was closed down because there were credible threats of violence against the electors. Kathy and I were out running an errand this morning, and we found police presence very enhanced, like we'd not seen it before. As I imagine, I'm guessing the police were being prepared in case anything should happen. So we give thanks that that there was no incidents of violence and that everything went safe. But it is a day that causes us pause and causes us to pray. And so I have been, will be praying, and I encourage you to do the same. Please, both for the virus and for our government as we move through transition. I ask you to join me in praying both for the president-elect and the vice president-elect and those coming into office, and for the president and the vice president and those who it looks like will be leaving office. Pray for our democracy and our electoral process, that we may come together as a nation and be united. The readings for this week are really kind of helpful in this regard. The reading from Samuel, King David says to Nathan the prophet, "I'm living in a house of cedar, and God is living outside in a tent, the tent of meeting from going through the wilderness. I'm going to build God a big house, a temple." And Nathan the prophet says, "Go for it." And then God speaks to Nathan and says, "No, I've never been locked up in a house. I don't want to be isolated. I want to be out and about and among the people." So the good news is that God wants to be among the people. And the way God ends up being among the people is not to move into David's house, but to join David's family in the birth of Jesus. So in David's descendant. So God is physically among God's people in the person of Jesus, David's descendant. So that's the good news for the fourth Sunday in Advent. And the good news for us is that God understands our yearning to be together, because God wants to be with us. And God is not locked up away in any house, even a church building, that even as we cannot gather this Christmas in our church buildings, God in Jesus will be among us. That's the sermon, one of the sermons I'm thinking about for this Sunday. I'm recording the sermon, so it will be something like that or something different. It's a good time for me to tell you that Pastors Anderson, Sprang, and I continue to record a sermon every Sunday. For Sunday, we release it on video to congregations that want to use it as part of their virtual worship on Wednesday. And then we show it, we release it to the synod for whoever wants to see it on Sunday afternoon. So if your pastor is needing a break or your technicians are needing a break, you can ask, and we're happy to share a sermon. It's also a way for the synod to visit in your congregations. On December 27th, we won't be releasing a sermon. We will be releasing an entire service of lessons and carols so that congregations can use it on the Sunday after Christmas. Our feeling is that after preparing Christmas Eve worship on the 24th, our rostered ministers, pastors and deacons, musicians, and worship producers might need a break. So there again, the complete service of lessons and carols will be available to congregations, and then we will release it for everybody to see at 7 o'clock in the evening on December 27th as one of our Facebook premieres on the Synod Facebook page. So I hope you'll join us, and I hope you'll encourage your congregation to make use of it. This week for me, I have plenty of Zoom meetings. On Tuesday, I get to gather with the Kalamazoo Conference for some Christmas conversation and cheer. On Wednesday, we have staff meeting, and then in the afternoon, I'm gathering with the Trapp Endowment Committee. The Trapp Endowment is pretty wonderful. It is an endowment established in our synod, and the interest becomes grant money that is awarded to congregations for ministry in the North. So we'll be awarding those grants on Wednesday. This is one of several such grant programs we have. Pastor Sprang on Tuesday night is meeting with the Grace Endowment, one of three, the Grace, the Wilson, and soon the St. John Foundation, where interest is used for ministry in Saginaw. So we're very grateful for these resources and the ministry opportunities they provide. So that's on Wednesday, and then on Thursday I begin the day with a Zoom meeting with the deans, and then have a meeting with the Living Water Ministries Board, and then conclude my day with the ELCA Conference of Bishops. And then somewhere in the meantime, I need to record my sermon for Sunday. So it's going to be a full week. I really ask you to join me in prayer for our nation this week, and in the coming, 5 or 6 weeks, that we can put the election behind us, that we can come together as a nation, that we can restore trust in our democratic processes. We have some big issues to face. The pandemic, of course, and the economy are two big ones. And we need each other, and we need to be in this together. The place to begin, I think, is to pray for that to happen and invite God to help us to make that happen, to lead us to make that happen, to empower us to make that happen. So this last week in Advent might be a good time to pray. That's what I'll be doing. And so I pray for our nation. I pray for our congregations. I pray for the church. And I pray especially for those in need. And for all of us, especially those who care for people who have COVID, for all of us, that we may be healthy and safe and celebrate a meaningful Christmas this year so we can celebrate Christmas together next year. I'm Bishop Craig. This is Take One. The peace of Christ be with you always.